Hi, everyone, our little real talk chatterboxes.
It's been a while.
It has. We're going to kind of do this one as our original format. I know a lot of people have been asking, so we're going to go ahead and do it like our original podcast and that. So we're going to start out with Gabriella giving her three state fun facts, and then we'll go into the topics, and then I'll end with my little quote of the day and our sign off. So,
And also, this isn't going to be like a normal video. We're doing this on Streamyard, so it's not going to be like edited, like with the intro and with the outro, and like that just takes too long anymore. We have a lot going on right now.
yeah.
This might be the new setup. We'll see how well we like it.
You let us know how you like the setup like this too, or if you prefer our little intro and everything. Just we welcome comments, so please do that.
Yeah, so
So, with that.
3 state facts. Utah is the only U.S. state in which every county contains some part of a national forest. That's interesting.
Wow,
My freaking eyeballs, man.
that's usually me.
Literally both of them tonight. I don't know why. State fact number 2. Ben and Jerry gives their ice cream waste to a local Vermont farmer to help feed his pigs. Apparently, the pigs like every flavor except mint Oreo cookie.
Wow, interesting. I wonder why they don't like maybe the mint.
It's probably spicy.
Well, I don't know. That's kind of weird.
I don't think animals understand like the tint of the mint. I don't know.
The tint of
The tint of the mint.
I don't know.
And last but not least, Virginia handles around 70% of the world's internet traffic via data centers in what's known as the
Dollars.
Dulles
It's like the airport.
Technology Corridor.
Very cool. Very cool. So there's our fun facts again for you. The other night we did a live. That would have been last Saturday, I think. Oops, I just clicked off of that. Yeah, I think that was last Saturday we did a live. And we said that we were going to touch on some folklore. We had a lot of questions about skinwalkers, shapeshifters, Indian lore, different things like that. So we said that we would do a podcast on that. So tonight's going to be on a little bit of folklore. I'm going to start out with shapeshifting because shapeshifters, they kind of tie in with a lot of stuff. Now, don't mind me. Normally, I have my notebook in front of me, but as she said, with our new venture that we're going to be doing, we just been busy. I've been setting up, giving information, getting information, itemizing stuff, just a whole lot of stuff to get that started. So I'm just going to be reading it from the Wikipedia uh, on my phone. So shape shifting. Now this in mythology, it's considered folklore and speculative fiction because there's really no concrete proof yet of any kind of shapeshifters or anything of that sort. So, but shapeshifting is the ability to physically transform oneself through unnatural means. The idea of shapeshifting is in the oldest forms of totemism and shamanism, as well as the oldest existent literature and epic poems such as the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Iliad. So if you're familiar with like the Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer, then you can get an idea of where that's going. The concept remains a common literary device in modern fantasy, children's literature, and popular culture. Gabriella can bring up a couple examples of shapeshifting here and show you what shapeshifters could possibly look like in folklore.
So here's one that I really liked. It shows that it can transform into like any animal.
Basically, they can transform into anything, animal, another person. There's a lot of lore.
it was kind of difficult to find like any actual images of them.
That one up there, maybe that one there.
Yeah, it's really difficult to find any because again, like Mom just said, there's no like concrete evidence on
That one was a good one that you just had up.
finding shapeshifters. So
if you go down to folklore mythology, famous shapeshifters in folklore actually are like werewolves and vampires. And mostly, most of them are European, Canadian, Native American origins. Let's see, there's shape-shifting fox spirits of East Asia and Navajo skinwalkers, which we'll be discussing that. Gods, goddesses, demons, demonesses, different things like lycanthropes, which is werewolves, different things like that, all go and tie in with shapeshifters. Now, if you get into Greek mythology, the transformation is often a punishment from the gods to humans who cross them. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. In Greek mythology, the transformation is often a punishment from the gods to humans who cross them. So in Greek mythology, you're going to get people like Zeus, who and his children were king like Cain, I guess, changed his children into wolves as a punishment for either killing Zeus's children or serving him the flesh of Lycaon's own murdered son, Nyctimus, depending on the exact version of the myth. Then you have Demeter transform Ascalibus into a lizard for mocking her sorrow and her thirst during her search for her daughter. Everybody should know Athena. She transformed Arachne into a spider, which arachnid spider, for challenging her as a weaver and for weaving a tapestry that insulted the gods. Artemis transformed Actaeon into a stag for spying on her bathing, and he was later devoured by his hunting dogs. Let's see, I don't want to go down to Hera punished young Tiresias by transforming him into a woman, and 7 years later back into a man. Let's go down to Selene transformed Maia into a fly when she became a rival for the love of Greek names, Endymion. And then, of course, you got Medusa. Her punishment was it says, while the Greek gods could use transformation punitively, such as Medusa, who turned into a monster for having sexual intercourse with Poseidon in Athena's temple. Even more frequently, the tales using it are of amorous adventure.
I see why Medusa was turned into what she was.
So there we go. So
that's interesting.
That's incredibly interesting. Then you go down. You have Danae as a shower of gold, Europa as a bull, Leda as a swan, Ganymede as an eagle, Alcmene as her husband. So she was transforming into her own husband. Amphitryon, Hera as a cuckoo, Aegina as an eagle or a flame. Callisto is either Artemis or Apollo, and the list goes on. So,
yeah, that was a lot of them.
But if you go down like metamorphosis, and then if you get into the British and Irish, fairies, witches, and wizards were all noted for their shape-shifting abilities. So I didn't know that either. Not all fairies could shapeshift, some having only the appearance of shape-shifting through their power called glamour to create illusions, and some were limited to change their size.
I have a story about fairies.
And then you get down to Celtic mythology or Celtic, however people want to pronounce it. There are transformations. Gwion having accidentally taken some of the wisdom potions that Saradwin was brewing for her son, fled from her through a succession of changes that she answered with changes of her own, ending with his being eaten a grain of corn by her as a hen. So it goes down, each myth, each culture has their own form of shapeshifters. Indian, you have a shapeshifting cobra. A common male cobra will become an Ikadhari Nag, which is a male shapeshifting cobra. Then a common female cobra will become a Ikadhari Nagan after 100 years of penance. So, and then you've got Armenian, you got the Philippines, you got Chinese, you got Japanese, Korean. So shape-shifting isn't, I think a lot of people think shape-shifting is centralized in certain areas, but it's really not.
It's just depending on what they believe in.
According to the different cultures, what they believe was, I guess, conjured up.
Plus, in the world now, like in America, we believe that that skinwalkers are basically the same thing as shapeshifters. You know, they can pretty much do the same thing. But obviously they're different in some aspects, but they're more or less the same thing. One is for a punishment, the other one is from a ritual. I read a lot on.
So I'm thinking anything can be a shapeshifter. I mean, a shapeshifter can be anything, but anything doesn't necessarily have to be a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to you?
That makes sense.
Okay. Do you have any questions about that or any ideas, theories of your own, any comments?
No, it's just a lot to take in.
Which kind of leads us to a little story before she goes to her Skinwalkers. We had somebody show up at our house one day, and we were told it was a little tiny woman, but it looked like a kid, which is possible. But we kind of did a little experiment. We have a Ring camera, and everybody that enters the porch, we go in, we go out, we get packages, the mailman comes, people come to the door, everybody shows up on the Ring camera. This person, when they showed up on our porch, did not show up on a Ring camera. Now, this person was tiny, looked like a kid, had a face mask on, had a bright tie-dye shirt, had a bright colored beanie on, and yet it didn't show up on our Ring camera. So Gabriella puts on a mask, a jacket.
Yep.
She goes out and almost simulates the exact same way the person came up on the porch, the way the person left.
It caught me.
Caught her, but didn't catch that person. We're still trying to the mystery.
The only thing that we can say, though, is we're not the only people that have saw this person. Like, people say that if it is she, they say that it's a little Asian lady, and she just comes up on people's porches and stuff. But my brother said that when he was walking to Dollar General, it said hello to him, but that was it. Like, it didn't say anything else. He said it sounded
not
like
saying it as disrespectful, just because we don't know
for sure if it's a person, if it's a friggin' shapeshifter, like if it's a male or if it's a female. That's all I can say is
we don't know.
I can't identify it by its actual gender if I don't know what it is to begin with.
Even my son saw that person up close and said he really couldn't tell.
Our local store, and he decided that he decided to walk to our local store and it decided to follow behind him and it said hi to him, I guess, and he just ignored it. And
then he went over into the store and he was like hovering around. Eric would be in the one aisle and that
yeah, and
person would be
it was
like,
there too, but
yeah.
why would it come up on our porch? Like, we have a whole nother story about another person that came up on the porch, but that's for another time.
Yeah,
That was an actual person,
yeah.
and we know what happened to her.
Yeah, that's another
Scary.
strange one. But so, do you believe in shapeshifters?
Oh yeah. I don't. I think a shapeshifter is pretty much the same thing as a skinwalker, or a shapeshifter. Obviously, is different from a skinwalker, but it doesn't take the forms of the same animals that a skinwalker.
Do you think there's a possibility that Yeti and Bigfoot, things like that, could be shapeshifters?
Bigfoot might be.
How about like Mothman, Lizard Man? Do you think all they could? All of them
I
could be
think they're
shapeshifters?
just mutants, like a creepy old person in the woods.
See, that's what I think about Bigfoot.
Frisky.
I think, but you know, like we've had Chernobyl. There's Chernobyl happen. Pennsylvania had 3 Mile Island. We all know about that.
The fact that they're just showing up and there's no history of them or anything else, and then like they look part human, but they also have an aspects of like an animal. I think somebody was like, maybe somebody lives in the woods or something.
And you got to figure they're uncovering dinosaur bones. They uncover frozen mammoths. So who knows? Bigfoot could be from our ancient history. What just happened to survive? Whatever theory that you want to believe in.
Until they actually like capture him or take DNA samples or something. I don't think we'll ever know.
Yeah. Do you think they will actually find a Bigfoot?
I think that if they do, that's a government cover-up for something that...
Just like aliens and stuff in that Area 51?
Yeah, that we should know about.
Now, there is a paranormal group, paranormal oddity group here in Pennsylvania that does regular watches and tries to get sightings of Bigfoot here in Pennsylvania. Matter of fact, one of the towns not that far from us has been rumored of Bigfoot being seen walking along the side of the road where it was a pretty wooded area. So
actually, the one person in South Carolina that helped us, he was into Bigfoot and he was trying to figure out a whole bunch of stuff about Bigfoot. It was pretty cool.
Ear. He actually was going to come up here to the Pennsylvania Paranormal Research Bigfoot chapter and be part of that because that's how interested he is.
It's really cool. It is an interesting topic. It does make you wonder if it is part of our history and nobody, after millions of years, have actually discovered it, or if it is a mutant of some sort, like some guy in the woods decided to mate with something and it created that. We'll never know.
Yep. There's a lot of unexplained things in the world, and Bigfoot can just be one of them. But I do believe, I'm going to say, yeah, I believe in Bigfoot because not as a monster or anything like that, but just as a mutant or an ancestor of something that we all thought was extinct, but actually survived. And
I don't believe in Yetis, though. There's never been proof that a Yeti exists. You'd think like in Alaska or Antarctica or somewhere like where it's really cold and where there's a lot of snow.
In Antarctica, nothing can exist, I don't think, except for like those water bears or whatever the hell they're called.
Those are weird. Those are creepy.
I don't know. A lot of mysteries there. Like, I mean, if Bigfoot exists, Yetis are more prevalent to higher elevations because of cold. So who knows? I don't know. You know, it's something we can do. Bigfoot and Yetis and stuff like that in one of our future and see what kind of research. So your turn.
So, getting on.
And this tied in, we started off with because it ties in with her Skinwalkers.
Yes. Okay. There's one piece of hair that's like. Okay. Never mind. So this is the Navajo version of a Skinwalker, and I think also there's a lot. Okay, I didn't take a screenshot of that. But this is the Navajo myths and legends of the
This hair
Skinwalker.
is itchy, and I don't know why. That's probably, I bet you there's a hair in there or something. Go ahead.
The Navajo Skinwalker is known as Yi Nalalushi. And for Navajo, it means of it, he/she walks around on four legs. And it is a variety of Navajo witch. It is apparently far more common for men to be skinwalkers, though it is possible for women as well.
See, I thought it was the opposite. I always thought it was more common for a woman to be a skinwalker and not a man.
It depends on what is in that general area.
It convinces me even more than that what we saw down at Oakwood Cemetery.
I heard a male
moan, yeah,
before.
called like moan for help, yeah.
Yeah. So,
wow.
There are many other horrific tales about things that skinwalkers perform on their victims, such as using a poison powder of corpse dust made from ground infant bones, preferably the finger and skull bones of twin infants, to kill them with.
Oh, I didn't know that they did that. So you're learning me something.
I learned that myself. Navajo witches, including skinwalkers, represent the antithesis of Navajo cultural values, while community healers and cultural workers are known as medicine men and women, or by other positive nurturing terms in the local indigenous language. Witches are seen as evil, performing twisted ceremonies and manipulating magic in a perversion of the good works medicine people traditionally perform. In order to practice their good works, traditional healers learn about both good and evil magic. Most can handle the good and evil. Most can handle the responsibility, but some people can become corrupt and choose to become witches.
Wow. Really, no, we're not doing this today. Wow.
It's been driving me nuts.
You pull up here before you continue. The picture she's going to show, the first picture of a skinwalker.
Well, this is the description before I do that.
Okay, go ahead.
Skinwalkers are most frequently seen as coyotes, wolves, foxes, eagles, owls, or crows, and are not creatures to be trusted. Some Navajo believe that skinwalkers have the ability to steal the face of a person, and some believe that if one ever locks eyes with a skinwalker, they can absorb themselves into a person's body, or that one's body might freeze up with fear, allowing a skinwalker to channel that fear and gain power and energy.
Oh, that'd be scary. That'd be scary.
I saw it. It saw me. It stood up, and then it came after us.
Yeah. I don't care. People can call me whacked. She can call you whacked. Anybody can call us whacked. What we saw that night was a skinwalker. I have no doubt.
There was no bears in season, and it went.
Well, pull up that one picture in particular and show what we're talking about. Right there.
This is what.
That picture right there is how she said she first saw it approaching.
Or even like this.
And she said, like, the eyes just kept on staring, and it crawled with its shoulders all hunched over like that. And that is real creepy.
It literally moved like a bear. Like, you know how bears have, like, that weird walk to them? They, like, move their arms weird. Yeah, I look like I'm doing, like, a dance or, like, a jiggle or something. It was like walking like that. Like a
And it kind of was, I mean, if it was a coyote, I would think that as soon as it's seen as, and it kind of sense fear would more approaches. This thing was kind of just lurking and it just staring and started getting closer and closer. And when we panicked, it didn't come charging after us. We got into the car. We hurried up and took off to the top of that cemetery. But by the time we got up to the top of that cemetery, it was there and we were in a car. And that's part of the lore of the Skinwalker, too.
Well, it also says a skinwalker can transform into any animal by first wearing a pelt of the animal in order to properly transform into said animal. Similar lore can be found in cultures throughout the world and is often referred to as shapeshifting by anthropologists. Because it is believed that skinwalkers wear the skins of the animals they transform into, it is considered taboo to wear the pelt of any animal. In fact, the Navajo are only known to wear two hides, sheepskin and buckskin, both of which are used for ceremonial purposes.
Wow. That's
So,
real creepy.
so in order for a skinwalker to turn into the animal, it has to kill it or has to find.
So it kind of makes sense in essence, too. That would make sense. That there was nothing there by that tree. We come back after going to the bathroom, was after midnight. There was that freshly washed off
That was I don't know
bone.
what that bone was. We should have got like a bag and grabbed it
Something.
and had it like.
And then we heard the moaning down there, which was a man. It was a man. Because Chase even one ever said, "Hey, is anybody there? Do you need help?" And so
But it was over that hill. The creepiest part about it is we heard the guy screaming for help or whatever over a hill. Then we saw, well, I first saw the two eyes in between like one tree and another tree, and I was like,
there's something there.
I think there's something watching us, and I'm starting to feel very uncomfortable. And they're like, "Oh no, I don't see it. I don't see it." I was like, "Mom, did you see that?" She's like, "Oh my God, I see it." I was like, "What is that? A bear? What is that?" And I think Chase thought it was a coyote. And
but then we all started getting that feeling too, like
yeah, we all started feeling like we're really in danger.
yeah,
We need to get out like immediately. And then I was like, "Mom, it's walking towards us like a bear. Are you sure they're not in season?" She's like, "No, they're not in season." Chase is like, "No, they're not in season." I was like, "Well, if they're not in season, what is that?" And then after I looked at it for a while, it's like it stood up and then it was piercing its eyes into me. And then as we were running away, it sounded like it was following after us, but I looked behind us to make sure nothing was following us. No sign of it.
We didn't really run, but we went quickly.
We like jogged.
Yeah. But at that time too, I made the point. I said, I don't get scared. You guys know me. We go into haunted places, and I'm pretty brave.
I really don't either. I usually go like down basements and stuff.
I looked at you guys and I said, something's not right here. That is not of human nature. That is not a bear. That is not a coyote.
We should have listened to was the warnings on
did have a lot of
spirit
warnings.
talker. It was like, run, get away now, evil is coming. Like all these warning signs. And we were like, no, we're fine.
Yep, we just
bad idea. Always believe your spirit box.
Yeah. Well, and believe your feelings, your gut feeling. We all started getting, Eric and me, I think, were the most at peace at the cemetery. You know, we didn't feel like, we actually thought when we went there, when we first got there, where they're like, "Oh, geez, this is going to be a waste. Nothing's going to happen."
Yeah, and we traveled there for.
It was a little over an hour.
Yeah.
To get there. It was a decent drive. And sudden, when that all started happening, he said, "I'm not feeling right." And I said, "I don't get scared. It takes a lot to scare me."
Those people by the tree doing the seance. They can't
tell us some kind of ritual or something, yeah.
Seance or ritual or sacrifice of some sort or whatever.
Yeah, there was something going on.
Because they were in a circle. They had a Ouija board. They had like a whole bunch of things, and the one person was carrying a shovel with them, which was made us all very uneasy. Like, why do you need a shovel?
Yeah. There's a lot of strange about it. And there is, in that cemetery in particular, there is one grave that was vandalized. It was on the news down there. They vandalized it, and apparently they took out the skull from that grave, and they were doing some kind of rituals with that skull from that grave.
So
So,
I guess it has been put back since
yeah,
then.
yeah.
But they were wondering, like, what the hell did they do to the skull?
So,
But these are the appearances of skinwalkers. It says their physical appearance can oh my gosh, we're starting off. Their physical appearances often appear to be Native American in origin, with facial features and skin color reminiscent of the Navajo, from which the original legends were first told. They are mildly attractive, but otherwise unremarkable. Their aura, however, is what is most distinct about them.
what's distinct about their aura?
I don't know, it doesn't say, it just says their aura.
Huh.
Which is interesting. I didn't see an aura, but it was like nighttime.
Yeah.
So
No, but we saw the eyes.
probably eyes.
And you saw the way it creeped.
It literally looked like a baby bear, or not a baby bear, a big bear.
But it walked like that picture that you showed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So I'm convinced that we encountered a skinwalker that night. I'm convinced. Like some people, you
I
can call
don't
me
know.
crazy. I don't care. I'm
If we
convinced.
did, I don't know how we survived.
We didn't stay there very long because we went up to the top, and when we knew it had followed us up there, well, not followed us, it was already up there waiting by the time we got up there in a car, which they are known to be able to travel fast. And we said, nope, we be out of here.
These are their personality traits. In human form, skinwalkers exhibit typical alien behavior, quiet, distant, and seemingly uncomfortable in their own skin. They may be confused and disregard human customs. So, if you see a person and they don't say anything to you, they look weird,
yeah.
and they don't.
But that's everything like that person, like even Eric said, like, and then
If they don't act like a human, don't go towards them.
I'm still like, why did everybody and their brother show up on our Ring camera, but that particular person did not?
And the other person that I was talking about, the only reason that she didn't show up on the Ring camera was because it was still charging. And then after the whole incident happened, is when I put the Ring camera back out there to see if she'd come back.
That was a whole different cup of noodles.
Yeah, that's a whole completely different thing. The other one, I was still sleeping, and then I heard the story when I came down, and I was like, oh, figures, when I'm sleeping, weird shit happens.
Do you want to tell about a couple of the powers and abilities, and then we'll get on to the next one?
Well, it's the myths and legends, because these are screenshots.
Okay, whatever.
So, primarily detailed in many Native American tales, these entities are sometimes portrayed as either practicing witches or aspects of the trickster deity, coyote, or something worse from the shared mythology of many indigenous American peoples. Skinwalkers are considered one of the most fearsome monsters from Native American mythology. In those myths, they have a few X powers, including telepathy, voice channeling, mimicking animal and human sounds, and the creation of poisonous/disease-ridden witch powder or the magical eye.
So they're creepy.
Really creepy. Some cannot fully shift into their animal forms and have a deformity, awkward, giant, oversized feet, etc., revealing their true nature.
Yeah, that was the one show that we watched, wasn't it? Jack Osborne's or something, or no, it was Unexplained. What was it? Expedition Unexplained or whatever it is.
Expedition Unknown.
Something like that. Yeah, one of those. Remember they said that
That's right. They were
they're talking about, yep, that the look at the feet, because a lot of times that shows the hoofed feet or the very elongated feet.
Indian really didn't want to talk about it because it's their culture and they're scared to death of these things. And you probably won't ever get an Indian to talk about this, but it was for a show and it was for people who wanted to know more about them. Well, it was I guess common on this one road where this girl was driving a school bus, that she would see this person walking up and down the street and whatnot, but she said she looked down at its feet and it had like hooves as feet, and then it'd disappear, and she didn't know where it went. Well, tons of other people in that same town reported the exact same thing, and so this person on, I think it was Expedition Unknown, went to that town to see if he could find the same thing.
They did encounter?
They did encounter something, but it could have been a costume, but the thing disappeared afterwards.
Yeah.
And they don't really know.
They turned around to go back and check it out and it was gone.
So,
but the funny thing about it is too, the Indians are so upset and nervous, afraid, whatever proper word you want to use, that they say that you don't even want to talk about it because even talking about it could conjure one, could bring, yep. So it was a very interesting episode, and there was a lot of stuff in that episode that I did not know about Skinwalkers.
Honestly, I didn't really know that much about Skinwalkers either until that episode, and the Indian was very well known for telling tales and everything. He was like the only Indian in that town that was actually going to talk about them, but he was like, you got to be careful because they can hide in plain sight and you wouldn't even know it.
He even, I believe, saged them, or he did like a little Indian ceremony thing.
He did a like cleansing on them.
Yeah. But you have to, if any, like, especially paranormal investigators that like to go to some of those haunted woods, the haunted forests, be careful, because even if there's claims of coyotes and bears and that there, you have to watch, especially if you hear a man or woman that's calling for help or seems like they're in some kind of distress, because that's their calling card.
Even animals. You gotta watch out for animals that might sound like they're hurt,
right,
or crying or something.
Yep. So you got to be aware of that, because that's their calling card. That's how they lure you. And
which is really scary, because like most animal lovers, I know if I heard like a dog in the woods and it was crying, I'd go and try to find it. And these things know that. They're like, oh, we're so smart that we're gonna capture you because we know that you're gonna come after this hurt animal. And then it's gonna eat you, or it's gonna get you.
so,
Then it says, being very similar to werewolves and other paranormal shape changers, most Skinwalkers' abilities are largely powered by dark ritual and the breaking of native taboos, such as incest and murder, especially of family members, or of heralded to create them. What does that mean? Heralded?
Heralded.
I said it right.
Yeah, you said it right.
Each tribe's version differs in details. Most Skinwalkers are differentiated by their brethren by being able to take multiple shapes, but are not free-form shapeshifters. The myths usually describe them as human who wear only animal skin, or an abomination of human and animal forms. Another legend states that a Skinwalker is or was a shaman in its human life. As a rite of passage, they kill their entire family to drain and absorb their souls. They can then transform into any animal they desire, and any person, although the latter is both very rare and difficult. It has the ability to mimic voices that are familiar to a certain person as a method of luring that person out.
Yep. See.
Those who have talked about encounters with these evil beings describe a number of ways in which a skinwalker will try to inflict that harm. Some describe hearing knocks on the window or banging on the walls. Others have spotted an animal-like figure peering in through a window. According to Navajo skinwalker legend, they are seldom caught. Those who do track a skinwalker and learn of their true identity must pronounce the name of the evil one in full. Once this happens, the skinwalker will get sick or die of the wrongs they have inflicted against each other. Non-native interpretations. Oh, it's 11. It's almost midnight. And here I am reading. Non-native interpretations of skinwalker stories typically take the form of partial encounter stories on the road where the protagonist is temporarily vulnerable, but then escapes from the skinwalker in a way not traditionally seen in Navajo stories that take place away from home. Sometimes Navajo children take European folk stories, and substitute skinwalkers for generic killers like the Hook. And that's all I got.
It. So that's interesting because it gets right back to the beginning. Shapeshifters tie into skinwalkers, but skinwalkers necessarily don't need to be a shapeshifter, but they do show a lot of signs of being a shapeshifter and those abilities.
Yeah.
But usually it comes from if they start out with pelts from these animals and then they convert into.
Well, it's believed that way by the Navajo.
Yep. That's interesting.
So
You encountered a skinwalker, I have no doubt. Every sign was there that night that was a skinwalker.
So what, you think like it found a hibernating bear or something and it killed it, or it was sick or something and it wore its skin? That was definitely a bear that I saw.
I think something, whatever those kids did, those people with that bone, who knows, maybe they had a pelt of an animal with them also. It could have been something even as simple as a rabbit, but that could have been enough for them to do their transformation, whatever. I don't know. Something was not right. And Chase went almost over that hill to say, hey, does somebody need help over there? There was nobody over there. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, this thing approaches us. Yeah. And if it was a bear, especially if it was like a baby bear, mama's going to be close by. And if it was a coyote, you might see the one coyote, but he would start approaching, and then they usually go in packs. So you would be hearing a lot. We didn't hear any coyotes.
No.
There was no coyotes at all making it. And they usually you'll know if a coyote is around because you'll hear them howling.
Yeah.
So it was just, I don't know.
Yeah. So tell us what you guys think in the comments about skinwalkers and shapeshifters so far, because it's pretty interesting.
So next we're going to go on to banshees. A banshee is in modern Irish and from Old Irish is considered woman of the fairy mound or fairy woman, a female spirit in Irish folklore who heralds the death of a family member, usually by screaming, wailing, shrieking, or keening. Her name is connected to the mythologically important tamale or mounds that dot the Irish countryside, which are known as side in Old Irish. And we can show a picture of a banshee on there real quick.
That would be
right there. The banshee is screaming, and there's the legend of it. That's just one example. I'm sure all banshees don't look that way, but
apparently, because there's a whole bunch of pictures here. They show a really pretty, like,
but she just yeah, and it said
godlike
mournful. She just looks like she's just very sorrowful.
That's definitely not a banshee.
No. That one right there with the
That one
horn
might
down.
be.
That one, the legend, it says the legend of the Banshee. That one's the one I was looking at. And that's in the Celtic. So right there's some examples of banshees. So depending on, I guess, the legend, the lore, it says sometimes she has long streaming hair, which she may be seen combing, with some legends specifying she can only keen while combing her hair. She wears a gray cloak over a green dress, and her eyes are red from continual weeping. She may be dressed in white with red hair and a ghastly complexion, according to a first-hand account by Anne Lady Fanshawe in her memoirs. Lady Wilde in her books provides others. The size of the banshee is another physical feature that differs between regional accounts. Though some accounts of her standing unnaturally tall are recorded, the majority of tales that describe her height state that a banshee's stature is short, anywhere between 1 foot and 4 feet.
Tiny women.
I'm not a banshee. Her exceptional shortness often goes alongside the description of her as an old woman, though it may also be intended to emphasize her state as a fairy creature. Sometimes the banshee assumes the form of some sweet singing virgin of the family who died young and has been given the mission by the invisible powers to become the harbinger of coming doom to her mortal kindred. Or she may be seen at night as a shrouded woman crouching beneath the trees, lamenting with a veiled face, or flying past in the moonlight crying bitterly, and the cry of this spirit is mournful beyond all other sounds on earth, and betokens certain death to some member of the family whenever it is heard in the silence of the night. So apparently if you hear or see a banshee, she could be warning you that somebody in your family is going to die. Warning you of an upcoming death in the family. I did not know that.
That's news to me.
In John O'Brien's Irish English Dictionary, the entry for, fairies, credibly supposed by the common people to be so affected to certain families that they are heard to sing mournful lamentations about their houses by night whenever any of the family labors under a sickness which is to end by death. But no families which are not of ancient and noble stock are believed to be honored with this fairy privilege.
Okay, well that makes sense. If you don't believe in it, then why would it come and warn you?
Well, they're saying usually the noble, ancient and noble stock are believed.
But I would think that would mean that, like, you'd have to have some belief in it.
I would think so. So I'm not going to read any more on banshees. Let me see. But normally it's pretty much, it seems like it's an Irish folklore more than anything. Yeah, they have different types in here, different banshees and stuff like that. So that covers banshees. There is a question here. Somebody said, are banshees evil or good? It says, well, most myths portray banshees as more akin to predictors of death rather than activity causing mayhem. There are exceptions. Some banshees are depicted as evil, finding pleasure in seeking out victims and wailing at them until they either commit suicide or go insane.
Ooh.
And then another one is, are banshees fairies? Irish legend speaks of a lament being sung by a fairy woman. She would sing it when a family member died or was about to die, even if the person had died far away and news of their death had not yet come. In those cases, her wailing would be the first warning that the household was about to have a death.
Wow.
So what do you think?
I think that's scary.
I did not know any of that, to be honest with you. I just thought Banshees was folklore about witches that wailed and screamed and warned you. And I thought they were coming to warn you of danger or put you in danger or something evil like that. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. That is pretty interesting, and I guess if there's a culture that believes in it, then
Obviously, the Irish do. It's Irish folklore they don't believe in.
pretty cool.
And again, I'm not a banshee. I'm not Irish. I am tiny. I'm only not. I'm 5 foot tall. I am an old woman, so that fit in there. I do have long hair. Like, I'm not a banshee. I promise you, I'm not a banshee.
Yeah.
Although, usually, if something really bad is going to happen, I get that real. I can
be a banshee.
I'll warn people. Hey, I've got that feeling. I'm cold. I've got shakes. Something not good is going to happen.
I don't want to start calling you a banshee.
Banshee. I'm a banshee.
It's gonna be like, why the hell are you calling your mother a banshee?
Well,
If you watch our recent video, you would find out. No, that's really weird though. But since they were this depicted as fairies, I have a story about a fairy. And it's gonna sound crazy because I still don't know if it was
and
a
you
fairy
have another one to do yet too.
or if it was a bug that looks like a fairy or something. I couldn't
Abby says
couldn't tell
she
you.
thought too. So.
Yeah, Abby saw it too, so I wasn't the only one that was going crazy if we both saw this thing. We were in our backyard of our old house, which weird shit was happening there anyway. I feel like it was a freaking Spiderwick Chronicles house or something. But me and my sister were in the backyard. I forget what we were doing. We were helping with the pool, or about to jump in the pool,
Or you guys could have just went out to the tent or something.
I think no, because it was before the tent, I think. Maybe we were collecting pecans or something. I don't know. Whatever we were doing out there, we heard this thing fly by, and we thought it was a praying mantis at first. And so we looked at it. It had a face, it had legs, and it looked like a little tiny person with wings. Not like Tinkerbell type of thing, but it looked like a little tiny person thing. And me and Abby both saw it, and we know we're not going crazy. But we saw it fly above us, and it had beautiful. It was all dressed in. It was all green, but it was like it had the fairy wings, and it flew above us. I sound completely crazy.
I told her they were tripping.
But it was so cool if it was a fairy, because I after that day I started looking up like a lot of things about fairies, and there's a lot of people that believe in fairies, but they usually say that it's not a good thing. Like normal fairies aren't good; they're actually evil, and they're not supposed to look like fairies. They're supposed to look like different things. But I don't know. I don't know what to believe. It was pretty cool though. I really wish you were outside to see it because I know it sounds crazy.
I'm one of them that unless I'm there, I'm not going to say yes, you saw it, no, you didn't. I can't say you didn't see something when I wasn't there. That's this whole thing about the paranormal, and my whole point the other day about certain people debunking everything in one location, saying, "Hey, I can easily debunk this here." But the thing happened in a whole other state in somebody's house. You can't debunk unless you were there with them. And I mean, you can give examples of things that could possibly have happened, but you can't necessarily say you're debunking it because you were not there with them when they experienced it. With that being said, go on to your Wendigos.
So I don't have much about Wendigos.
It's not really
because we couldn't really find much on Wendigos. But hold on, let me try.
They tie in though too with the Skinwalkers and stuff in that, don't they? Or no? Am I wrong?
No,
No, I'm wrong.
you're wrong.
I'm wrong. Sorry.
This is what people describe them as. So it says a Wendigo is a mythological cannibalistic monster in the spiritual tradition of North American Algonquian speaking tribes. It is associated with winter and described as either a fearsome beast that stalks and eats human or as a spirit that possesses humans, causing them to turn into cannibals.
I did not know that it mainly was in the winter.
I did.
I didn't.
Yeah, if you watch Dead by Daylight. No,
I don't watch that.
it's a game. If you watch a gameplay, I think it is Dead by Daylight.
So then it would be more prevalent up in the
no, it's not
northern
Dead by Daylight.
states, further north.
It's
Am I right?
Dead by Dawn. I think it's Dead by Dawn. Dawn. Something like that.
Okay.
They have Wendigos,
Excuse me.
but they depict them more as they look like what you would think a skinwalker would look like. They don't look like that.
Pull up a picture.
They don't look like that. But
that's of Native American folklore too. But you said it mainly in the winter. I that boggles my mind. I did not know that associated with winter. I did not know that.
it is associated. So this is a legend. It says, let me go back.
You did make sure the mic was on, right?
The mic is on after you. Yeah. A Wendigo or Wendigo is a supernatural being belonging to the spiritual tradition of Algonquian speaking First Nations in North America. Wendigos are described as powerful monsters that have a desire to kill and eat their victims. In most legends, humans transform into Wendigos because of their greed or weakness.
Wow.
Apparently this is how they're born. It says it is a human origin that becomes a monster through a process that results either from acts of starvation induced cannibalism or from possession by a spirit. A banshee?
What was that?
It was either a car that went by with a really loud radio
That was
or
a weird. If that was a song or something, that was weird.
that was weird.
Like, yeah. Okay. Good experience a Wendigo.
A banshee.
Banshee.
And then it says, in some versions of the legend, a human transforms into a Wendigo after their spirit is weakened by extreme conditions such as hunger and cold. Then there's the locations. Never mind, that's for a game. This is the story. It says, humans overpowered by greed could turn into Wendigos. The myth thus served as a method of encouraging cooperation and moderation. Other sources say Wendigos are created when a human resorted to cannibalism to survive. Humans could also turn into Wendigos by being in contact with them for too long.
So what's your thought on Wendigos? Believe or non-believe?
Wendigos have been out for a while. I think they became more of a thing before Skinwalkers became a thing. So I believe in them, but until somebody is like, "Oh my god, I think
I have to do like the Mothman prophecies or chronicles, whatever, and Lizard Man stuff like that, because all of this is
It would be interesting to find out if the people who are like, if there's like a horrible at some point, experimentation of somebody who gets dropped off on an island by himself, and then another person on like the other side.
So, okay, since we do paranormal investigations, since we do paranormal investigation, do you think these things tie into any of that?
Yeah. It says a Wendigo could be a spirit, and it says usually shapeshifters and skinwalkers have to be conjured.
Something on your eye, I think.
On my eye?
I think it looks like maybe a hair or something right on your eye. Maybe that's why yeah, it looks like it's on your eye.
Where?
From this direction, looks like it's a hair or something on your eye. You'd have to, that you're not going to see it like that. You can check it, hold it. She's losing her shit. So, okay, now what was your, that's a Wendigo. So what are you saying about islands and that? What's your thing about
so what I
islands?
was saying is if somebody, like most rich people, they would do like something horrific like this, but if somebody would do an experiment of like leaving a guy on an island for a few days, or it would have to be more than a few days, it'd be like probably weeks, and then dropping another guy off at that island to find out what that other guy explored. And since that guy's going crazy, maybe he turned into a cannibal. This is how my brain works. Maybe he turned into a cannibal from a Wendigo after they saw that the other person was dropped off at the island. So since he's a cannibal now, he goes, and the other guy managed to call up his people. The other guy managed to call up his people saying, "Yo, we need backup." And so a helicopter flies down, picks him up. They already have a cage or like a net or something, and they capture this Wendigo cannibalistic thing, take its DNA, find out that it's possessed. Boom, Wendigos exist.
So this guy that was originally on the island that got and turned into a cannibal or whatever, how did it, when they dropped him off the island, how did they know that he was going to turn into a cannibal? Or because he crazy because he was there by himself? Is that what you're saying?
He was the only person on the island. He probably didn't have any food.
So
or
he
anything.
kind of went insane.
Yeah, he was like, "Damn, I need food. I don't want to fucking fish. I don't want to climb trees or anything." They were like, "Okay, don't worry, we got you, bro." And they got another guy, dropped him off. But as soon as the Wendigo or whatever it was that was secretly living in the woods came out, bit him or possessed him or whatever, he was like, "Ooh, he looks mighty fine." He was about to bite him.
That's a theory. I'm gonna have to check her bedroom and see if there's a stash hidden somewhere.
Wait.
That could explain. Okay, so leave from Wendigos. Let's get off of Wendigos because that Thoroughfare was kind of creepy. Let's go on to, okay, this is not on my list, but I think
theoretical.
it was all theoretical. I got to give you credit for that. And you do have a very good overview.
Like a book about that.
You could write a book. Let's go on to a thing that's starting to happen a lot in South Carolina where we was at, especially in a town close to where we lived. These dark-eyed children that show up at your door.
The black-eyed kid.
You know more about that story, so you can do the talking.
So I'm not like completely versed, whatever word I'm looking for. Versed? Just
Yes.
versed?
I know, I feel like I got something in my eye.
Look it out. Let's see. Black-eyed. That's what the first thing that popped up. So this is Wikipedia, so
Do you want to show one?
We haven't even explained it yet.
I just said they're dark-eyed children that show up at your door and they knock and they say, "Hey, can you let me know?"
You say that. You said they're dark-eyed children.
They're dark-eyed children.
This is a thing about them. It says they might knock on your door on a late wintry night. You may see them approaching your car while you are waiting at the signal or gas station. It might seem like they need help, or they might just stand still for no reason. These children do not look threatening. They would want to get in your house or your car. They will be persistent. Suddenly, you will notice something is not right about these children. Their eyes are pure black from lid to lid, dead black orbs devoid of sclera or iris will chill up your spine. You have finally come across the black-eyed children. It's an urban legend of paranormal creatures that resemble children between the age of 6 and 16. These creatures with pale skin and black eyes have reportedly been seen hitchhiking, panhandling, or at the doorsteps of residential homes. A dozen of stories keep circulating, all following a very similar pattern. Kids with eyes completely blacked out appear at people's home or vehicle and knock on the door, and then insist upon getting inside. Anyone who encountered them has almost immediately felt an overwhelming sense of dread. Besides blackout eyes, these children typically appear normal. Sometimes their attire seems outdated. In extremely unusual instances, people have reported encountering creatures with talon-like feet. So another, like,
If you see children at your door, you look down, they have talon-like feet. I didn't even them at my door. I don't care how much they plead and get begged.
be prosthetic.
Who's
How do
calling
you
a
know?
talon prosthetic?
How do you know a kid didn't lose its foot? This is another theoretical thing because it's late. These are late night thoughts with Gabby.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make a comment on this one, like my baby Linda.
Thoughts with Gabby. Let's say that the kid lost its foot and then it didn't feel normal, and it was like, oh my god, I lost my foot. I just want to feel normal. And so it's
So
like,
a talon would be normal.
it was like, Mom, I want to feel normal, but I also want to be unique. And so the mom was like, okay, I got you, honey. What's your favorite animal? And it said bird. And so they made the talon of a bird prosthetic for that kid who lost his foot. Anyway,
Okay.
it says no one knows where or how these creatures pop up. Conspiracy theorists believe that black-eyed children are aliens trying to reach out to their Earth. Demonologists believe they are children of the devil himself, and if you let him in, you are allowing the devil to enter your life. They want to enter your home to call their parents. However, upon making eye contact, it seems like there is a much sinister plot to the story. Some people claim that these children have existed since the 1980s. However, most sources say that the legend originated in 1996 in
Was that recent?
written by a Texas reporter named Brian Bethel, where he wrote about 2 alleged encounters with the black-eyed children.
I thought it went way, way, way back. That's relatively recent.
Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that.
He said that he encountered 2 children in the Abilene, Texas, with pale skin and black eyes. In 2012, Bethel retold his story on the TV show Monsters and Mysteries in America. He then wrote an article for the Abilene Reporter News where he described his experience again. One of the stories goes like this. After I show you what a dark-eyed child looks like, that you gotta watch out for these at your doorstep.
Wow.
That's, I think, from the movie.
Yeah, that one looks like the movie, definitely.
But if it looks like that, don't let it in your house. That's just common sense.
And if it has a talon foot, look, if it has a talon foot, just close the door and lock it because
Don't accept them, tell them feet. Children. So one of the stories goes like this.
before I could see one of these dark-eyed kids now, these black-eyed kids saying, hearing eyes. Let's just my theory. They watch our podcast. They hear you saying that theory about how they got the talent foot. Then they start using it when they go to houses. Oh, I know you're kind of staring at my foot, but you know what? My mom said when I lost my leg,
normal. They don't act normal. They act really creepy. You get an overwhelming sense of dread.
Well, it would make it even more creepy if you see a talent foot.
It's gonna be creepy already. You open a door, you see their eyes, it's completely black. You get an overwhelming sense of dread, and then they're like, "Can we use your phone?" Like a freaking robot.
And you have a talent foot and top.
And that.
Here's the door. Door gets slammed. No. They don't even need to talk.
So one of the stories goes like this. In the snowy town within the middle of nowhere of Vermont, an elderly couple heard the sound of 3 loud knocks on their door. They opened the door and saw 2 children, a boy and a girl. Parents will be here soon. May we come in? Children did not make eye contact and just stood there in the doorway. The elderly couple were hesitant, but after a while, they let the boy and girl inside. The kids settled on the couch while the wife made some hot cocoa, and the husband asked them questions that went unanswered. The wife returned and noticed that her cat was scared and angry with the children. May we please use the restroom? The wife looked at the kids and she finally saw them. The children's eyes were as black as a starless universe. She directed them to the bathroom and returned to her husband, who was covering his face with his hand. Did you see their eyes? The husband then shows her his hand full of blood from a nosebleed. The power suddenly went out and the house turned as dark as the kids' eyes. The wife headed to the restroom and was confronted by the voice of the kids at the end of the hall uttering, "Our parents are here." The kids then exited the house, leaving the door wide open. The wife then noticed that there were 2 men at the end of the driveway. The men were very tall and slender. The wife waved but did not receive the same friendly gesture. The 2 men and children then drove away together in one car. The power then came back on a little later after the kids left. Throughout the next week, weird things happened in the house. 3 out of 4 cats went missing, and the 4th had been found dead in the pool. The husband continued to have nosebleeds and finally went to the doctor, where he was diagnosed with very aggressive skin cancer. This legend even crossed bodies of water and landed on the great land of the UK, where in 2014 the Daily Star wrote 3 front-page stories about sightings of the black-eyed children in the haunted pub in Staffordshire. Ghost hunters who believed that the black-eyed children were extraterrestrials. Vampires or ghosts took these alleged sightings very seriously. Nowadays, people still claim to see the black-eyed children driving late at night down an empty road or outside of their window late at night, or even lurking in the shadows of their room. Many people have reported seeing the black-eyed children standing in the corner of their room during the episodes of sleep paralysis, or even waking up in the middle of the night because they sensed someone was watching them, and in the shadows were these children.
That's like creepy. And again, we got to say, where we used to live in the town that was like right next to where we lived, currently, just recently, we heard reports from people down in that area saying they're cautioning everybody, if you see these kids show up on your porch, do not open up the door. So it seems like they're getting prevalent down in South Carolina now.
So are they extraterrestrial? What are they?
Yeah.
Why do they have black eyes, and why, as soon as you look at them, that you feel the overwhelming sense of dread?
I don't know. Did anybody see the eyes of that person that showed up?
I didn't.
I still don't understand, like, why it didn't show up on our...
He might have.
Eric, did that person have dark eyes? That kid, Asian person, whatever it was that showed up.
The kid Asian person. Did you see its eyes?
Not really.
There we go. There was a dark-eyed kid that
Was its head down?
I really didn't get a good look at it. I kind of didn't want to do anything, have anything to do with them.
did that person hold its head like bowed over, like kind of bent?
A little bit, yeah.
That sounded like cats outside. Is that the cats down in the cellar?
Maybe.
I don't know, whatever. Okay, so with that, what we're gonna do is what the heck? It's just weird shit's going on now. Okay, with that now,
Car that went by.
I don't know. If you have any questions or comments, Linda, Doug, you guys, leave comments, of course, and we'll address anything on one of our upcoming. I don't know if we're going to do another podcast like this again, or if we will do another live coming up soon. We'll decide. We will try though. If we are going to go live, we will give everybody a warning ahead of time that hey, we will go live tonight or whatever. So it's not like a last minute surprise like the last one. But there was so much, again, so much going on. Before we end, I do want to update. Everybody, of course, by now knows our news that we're going to be the facilitators of the Old Stone Jail, also known as Old Cambria County Jail in Evansburg, PA. Things are progressing real well as we speak. They are doing some repair work on roof and windows in the building so that at least can open up. We are talking about a possible opening date here real soon. I can't disclose yet because we don't have a definite date, but I can tell you real soon. That will be for tours, investigations, anybody that's interested, just contact me. You can go on my Facebook. You can go on this site. You can go on Real Talk. You can go on Lurking Spirits. You can contact any one of us. They will contact me, and I'll give you what I know. I can't give out prices or anything yet, even though I know what they are until the website gets up. But you can also check on progress on the website. So stonegel.com. Keep on checking that website. There'll be updates on there. There's a lot of stuff planned for that building. We are so excited. And we're going to be going here, I think, maybe as early as next week or the week after. We will be going through it. So we might actually even end up having an investigation there coming up here in the near future.
Would be.
I can tell you this much. There'll be two. There'll be a walkthrough. We will have either a live or a videotaped walkthrough of the building to show you what it's like. And then we will have a investigation done that we will show you what happened to us in that building for investigation. But check all the channels: Real Talk, Lurking Spirits, stonegel.com, Facebook, Lurking Spirits, Facebook, Real Talk, Gabriella's TikTok, Chase's TikTok, Abby's TikTok. Everybody check all of those.
All of those.
Yeah, we'll have to. I would link them all together.
I'll put them in our description at some point.
And again, spread the word. Spread the word. If you know somebody that wants to investigate or even tour, it will be guided tours. If you want an unguided tour, the unguided tour, that would be part of your investigation. And when you pay for an investigation, part of your investigation, the first part will be a guided tour of the building. And again, we're going to try to get a layout of the building, and that's make it easier for the private investigators that want to go in there. So, but with that being said, just keep on being, checking into our channel rather, and we will update you as we find info. But It will be soon, very, very soon. And we usually start with our fun facts. We end with a quote, and my quote's not really going to be anything exciting other than from Sixth Sense, the movie with Haley Joel Osment in it. I see dead people. I really do. I see dead people. And on that note, tune in and peace out. Bye. Love you guys. Love, 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 love.